Hey everyone, welcome back to the Tina Blaze Show. My name is Christina Freysinet. I am your host, and we have a very special guest today. Her name is Gia Peppers. Most of you know her as an on air talent. She's also an award winning journalist as well. So I'm super happy to have her. All right, everyone, let's welcome Gia.
Hi,
Hi, how are you, beautiful?
I'm good. How are you? You look gorgeous. I love the blue top, honey. It's giving what it needs to get.
Yeah. It's so funny that you say that because I don't wear bright colors at all, but I've just started to get into it, especially because it's summertime and I'm trying to get out of my comfort zone. So
Yes, I love that. Yeah, no, it's important to like let the summer be the summer. I have on black today just because I just felt like wearing it, but usually I try to do a little brighter in the summer.
I hear you. I mean, black is beautiful, right? So
Amen. Amen to that.
yes, thank you again. This is such an honor. You are definitely one of my biggest influences.
No, thank you.
I appreciate you. So let's get started. I definitely want to get to know you a little bit better before we start talking about your work. So can we talk a little bit about your journey of becoming a journalist? And I guess why so I know you're from DC originally, correct? So why the move? Why the change to New York? And I guess why did you become a journalist?
Yeah, for sure. So my story in getting into media, like, really is like a three-prong type of story, but I'll give like the spark notes of that because we only have so much time. Oh, sorry. And it's always the telemarketers that try to get me. Sorry. I mean, anyway, now my computer's on Do Not Disturb. But so my dad is a journalist, and I always like grew up watching him. And then he brought me into the newsroom when I was 2 months old and told everyone that I was going to be a broadcast journalist. And so that's kind of crazy. I always had seen like the video of that day, but I ended up finding it like almost 30 years to the day when I was in one of those crazy moments last year. And I was just like, you know what, God, okay, my bad. I did not mean to keep trying to run away from what you had called me to do before I even had consciousness to understand what you were doing in my life. And so it's a bit of a predestined like call that I didn't even know was there for so long. So it's that. And then also I grew up dancing, singing, and acting. I love the act of performance. I love entertainment. I love film. I love television. I love incredible music. And growing up, my mother was like, "Girl, I'm not paying for you to go to school to be singing yo shoulda coulda woulda on the seat on the side of the street," like Cheryl Lee Ralph said in Sister Act 2. So I had to choose a major that I would be happy with, but also something that would use my talents of storytelling and using my voice and understanding my presence on camera. And a lot of those skills that you learn on stage are transferable to the broadcast line of work. And so I grew up like I was always hosting things. Little did I know, like, we look back and find videos of me like 6 or 7 hosting like my dad's videos of the family reunion or like Easter Sunday. So I was always kind of something that I was going to do, destined to do, and I just had to continue to walk in that. And so my major, I guess, journey, the official journey, started when I was in high school writing for the newspaper, and then I did the morning news when I wasn't like cheering or whatever. And then after that, I went to college to major in journalism and media studies, and I started interning wherever I could. I started interning at the Donnie Simpson show at WPGC in DC. And then I started interning with Tigger and Free and all these incredible people, and finally interned with Wendy Williams and her staff at the Wendy Williams show. And then my last internship in college was actually with Live with Kelly and Michael at the time. So, it was a really great journey for me as far as getting into just the power of interning and the power of understanding there's a lot you can learn outside the classroom that you really just can't, like, it's just, you can't get that experience unless you're on the ground. And so, eventually when I graduated, I got my first job after going to the NABJ Career Fair, National Association of Black Journalists. If you are Black and a journalist, you should be a part of it. It is incredible. And I did my first overnights in the newsroom as a per diem desk associate at CBS Radio News. And that's when I really just decided that I would never if it was up to me, never do news again, because you have to be desensitized to it. You know, my first day we covered Sandusky and James Holmes, and my last day my last days included the Sandy Hook shooting, and I just knew I wasn't ready to be in a place where, you know, the numbers of people dying was more important than the people, and like the people who are left behind, like what their feelings and things like that. And so I went back into entertainment, started working and freelancing, and I started working for Ebro at Hot 97 and overseeing his site. And then I started working at BET and Essence, and I was also voted in to be the in-arena host for the Washington Wizards. And then from there, every little opportunity happened as it should. Black Girl Podcast came from my work at Hot 97, and so many other incredible opportunities just continue to come, and I'm really, really incredibly grateful for that. And lately I've been doing contributing to the Today Show and ET Live, my own YouTube series, Give You the Game, and the More Than That show on Urban Radio, Urban One Radio and podcast. So I'm super grateful for all that I've been able to accomplish. And that's like the spark notes, but I know that was kind of long.
That was amazing. First of all, you've accomplished so much and you're so young. You know what I mean? Like, that's just absolutely amazing. I mean, wow, I don't even know how you have all the time to do all that.
Right. I mean, the thing about like juggling many projects is that what a lot of people do now is that, you know, shows happen in seasons, right? So like in the one part of the year, I'll focus on developing and, you know, doing the conversations of More Than That. And then in the summer we are down. So I'll be able to do more on ET Live, and then, you know, ET Live wraps. And then, you know, so it's like, I've been able to do a lot because I've been able to be a lot of places with my scheduling. Now that might change depending on, you know, what type of opportunities that come. You know, if I get an anchor job somewhere, they probably will be like, you're gonna have to stay here all the time. But, you know, I've been grateful for the opportunity to do a lot in this freelancing space.
That's amazing. I mean, it just sounds like you're living your dream, right? Like,
yeah,
hope I can get there one day. I feel like I will.
You will. You absolutely will.
Thank you. I appreciate it. So I guess what inspired you to start your YouTube show, Give You the Game?
Yeah.
First of all, I love it.
Thank you.
Well, your interviews are conversational, which I'm trying to get to that point, you know, and I think that's amazing. So I guess what inspired you to kind of, you know, be on your own in terms of that?
Yeah, I was sick of seeing the edits on other things that I would be a part of, and the conversations that were the parts of the conversation that I actually thought were more inspiring than like what these people are up to lately, which is most of the time why people are on promo runs, right? Like at the end of the day, when you are a talent, unless you do sign on as an executive producer or have some type of creative control in the show, you have no say over what makes the final edit. And so as I would be a part of incredible programs, there would always be times where I would look back over the interview and be like, oh, dang, they cut that part out when she said she overcame this, or she would cut that part out when she said they loved this. So that's part of the reason why I started it, because I had a place where I could control what actually goes into the final thing, because it is something that I create, I book, it is from my heart to give to people. But as I've developed and been a part of this incredible journey in entertainment and, you know, taking my own path, I've come across so many incredibly inspiring people that have careers that are not only filled with longevity and gems and just beauty and overcoming. They've done it in a way that is joyful and integral. I know I just said that, but I think that's a really important point. And filled with hustle, but also hustle in the way that makes them define their own version of success. And I think when I think of the game, like it reminds me of like, you know, the old dudes that you might see around the way that'll be like, let me put you on game here. Look, now you're not doing it right. Let me put you to the side. Like for me, when I think of Give You the Game, I think give you tools so you can be better in your own journey. And that is what I want all of the content that I'm a part of, or the content that I create, especially from here on out, is to like remind people that greatness isn't just a singular characteristic that only belongs to Beyonce, Jay-Z, Rihanna, and like, you know, like the top tiers. Like we all have greatness inside of us. And if we align ourselves with that, imagine all that we can be and do and show up as in this world. And so Give You the Game is my way of giving people an inside track of what these great people that we all look up to have learned from their own journeys, in hopes to inspire people to just continue on their own paths.
Right. I'm glad that you said that, because I actually have a podcast. It's called the Influential Blaze Podcast. So I kind of just invite a bunch of like random people, whether they're, in the media or behind the scenes. And I just have them tell their stories as well, because obviously, like, as you mentioned, like, we all need tools to be successful, right? So it's nice to have those people, so that they can drop gems, so that people can actually, learn
Pick them up.
then, be successful as well. So that's awesome. Wow, great. Alike. That's hilarious.
Yes. There's a lot of us out here who just want people to know more information. There's incredible shows out, like so many incredible podcasts and YouTube series that aim to do the same thing. And I think the more information, the better. And the more that we inspire people, the more people will probably continue to inspire others too. So, that's really awesome to see everybody who's doing that same type of work. Like, we need it. We got enough million followers on the Shade Room and a million followers on everything else. We got to make sure that the light is getting that same attention as well.
I totally agree, especially being just Black people, especially women. We definitely need to continue to uplift one another and help each other, because a lot of people that just wouldn't want to help us, right? And we all know that. So
yeah, for sure.
At this point, so awesome. So I've been doing journalism for a few years now. So I've already been past that internship stage. I'm already done with school. So I guess, what piece of advice, because obviously you are just so successful, right? So what piece of advice would you give to me, or just anyone who's already somewhat have their feet wet, or just starting, I guess?
Advice in just like navigating the career space and understanding what to do.
Basically, like, trying to get more opportunities as well, because I feel like sometimes I'm a little stumped. I'm like, okay, I'm here, but I really want to get here.
For sure. Yeah, I definitely would say, one, there is a timing and season for every single part of our journey. And I know that is so annoying to hear when you are in a space where you just want opportunities to come, because I understand it. I get it. I get there quite a bit myself. And I do have to, cliches are cliches for a reason. They are universally proven beliefs that are proven so often that people have to say them all the time, right? So what's for you is for you. And when you do understand that timing and season and all of the things that are aligned for you will not miss you, then you just work on what you can control in the meantime. And that's what I tell myself. You don't, when you understand the opportunities that will come, will absolutely change your life. In the meantime, you can't just sit around, right? So you're doing the right things. You're creating content that is representative of your voice. You're developing your voice. You're developing your skills as an on-air talent. You're connecting with people in your community that can help see you and do all the right things. And so I think you're doing the right things. I would always tell people that, don't belittle the small beginnings, and also don't belittle like organic networking with people in your network too. There are people in your circle that already see you and already believe in you, and you might not know what to say to them, but you know that they have like certain connects and certain things. I always say, like, just drop the bug in their ear, like, hey, I saw you did that really dope project with this network. And, I know you and I have known each other for a while, and you might not know, but like, I would be interested in working with them and you on a project soon. Please let me know. I love what you did there. Like, if you hear any openings, as a producer, as a writer, whatever these folks who are around you are doing, try to tap into your network, and then just be proud of the things that you are creating, because people are watching. You have no idea who's watching, but they are. And sometimes you get so caught in the work, in the day-to-day, that you forget that, like, you're doing incredible. Like, already you're doing incredible and exactly what you're supposed to do. But as far as opportunities goes, like, the game is the game. So make sure that your page looks representative of what you want to say and do and be. Use those hashtags, get in those communities, honey. Go, like all the things that make you as visible as possible to whatever network or brand that you want to work with. Look into when you watch the credits roll on your favorite television shows, look and see who might be on IG that you could start following and creating an organic flow with as a supporter of what they do, right? Like a lot of people take it for granted that people are online and ready for you to support them. And that might not mean that they become your best friend, but they might know your name and your page when you meet them in person at a panel, right? Like don't stalk people, but understand that there are certain people that are in your proximity that might be able to help you move along. And if you all organically connect, then there might be something there too. And so, do your research. Know what the shows that you want to be a part of are doing. What are they saying? Does it really align with who you are as a talent? Understand what you want to do as a talent, what you want to say as a talent, and write it down, because when the opportunities do start coming, it may take a long time to get there. You might forget, right, why you started. So always try to keep, even if it's in the phone notes and the iCloud always saves it, like your why, as those clarity moments come to you, because they will. Try to remember that and kind of and get that deep down into your soul as you grow in this industry. But yeah, I definitely say like networking, and making your work as visible as possible, but also trusting that your work is working is a big thing too.
Right. I love it. That was such amazing advice. I can't wait to play this back.
Yeah.
What has been the most, I guess, life-changing experience for you? I know you've once again accomplished so much. So
life-changing. Yeah, I would say there have been several really life-altering moments outside of my career that have definitely impacted me as a human being. And one of those being when a really close friend of mine from college, I went to Rutgers, but she went to St. John's University, where like a good 50% of my DC friends who went to college in New York or New Jersey all went there. So I was up there all the time, and we got so close. And she was killed in a drive-by shooting about 3-4 months after we all graduated from college. And she was already writing for like Vibe Vixen at the time, and was already in these spaces and already doing all this incredible work. And they printed out one of her articles and like had it on the seats of her funeral at her funeral. And I was just like, she just wrote this. She just published this, and she's not even here for us to clap for her, for us to tell her we're proud of her. Like the last time I spoke to her, we talked about earrings and things that didn't really matter. I posted some cute earrings. She's like, where we get them earrings from? I was like, girl, I don't even remember. I think on some Brooklyn flea market, I got to go to work. Bye. And I forgot to say, I love you. And like that bothered me for so long. And so I tell everybody, I don't care if I just talked to you 2 minutes ago. Love you. Okay, bye. Love you. Okay, bye. Like all the people that are in my circle, I tell them I love them whenever I leave their presence. I don't know if that's necessarily healthy all the time, because it is a trauma response, but it does make me like, at least when we leave each other, that you are loved. And that's what matters to me. And her life also made me realize that fear is a construct of so many different things, but it's not real, and it doesn't help you do anything but waste time when you're sitting in fear, instead of using that to motivate you and get you in the right direction. And so once you realize that there is a time clock, you have to start realizing that you have to put your effort into becoming the best you, doing what you're here to do, and moving forward. And so I would think that was one of the most impactful moments, because shortly after that, I left CBS. I was not trying to do CBS radio news because I knew news was not for me. I stopped talking to the little dude I was talking to because I knew he wasn't serious. Like I just was like about my life, because I didn't know how much longer I had. Right. Like you don't know. And I'm grateful that God gives me a new day every day. That's why you say, thank you, Lord, for waking me up, because he didn't wake a lot of people up in 2020, and we're here, So it's about that moment definitely helped me just go harder at what I wanted to do.
Right. Oh man, I'm so sorry to hear that though. That is a really sad story.
Yeah. Luckily, her dad is doing well and still preaching, and her brother seems to be doing okay too. So You know, I'm just thankful that she was ever here and that I got to know her, because she was really an incredible person.
Exactly. And I'm more than sure she's more than happy to see you shining and
Yes.
flourishing. So,
Yeah.
aw.
Thank
um,
you.
but thank you for sharing that story. I appreciate that. That was very touching.
Mm.
Um, I do have just a couple more questions to ask you, of course. So, of course, during the pandemic, you know, a lot of people lost their jobs. A lot of things happened, right?
Mhm.
So, was there, do you feel as if you were able to kind of learn something about yourself during the pandemic? You know, did you learn a new skill or a new hobby?
Mhm, mhm. Yeah, I mean, I think in the pandemic, there were two major things that happened for me.
Mhm.
I learned how to trust God on a deeper level, in my own relationship with Him, because one of my major points of income is live event hosting. And when they canceled all the live events, all of the bookings that I had lined up for spring were immediately thrown on the back burner. Like, it was like, hold up now. Okay, so okay, all right. So what I'm about to do for the next 3 months, like, that's my income, that's everything. And at first I freaked out. At first I was like, oh my God, Jesus Lord, everything. Da, da, da. But then when you wake up every single day and see tickers of the numbers of people dying going up, you're like, honestly, I just want everybody to be safe. And so
Right.
one of the biggest things that I did in that moment is I just literally got on my knees and I was like, Lord, I don't know what is about to happen. I know that you hold tomorrow and that I'm going to give my career, my life, everything. I'm just going to trust it to you on a new level. You show me where I need to be. I'll show up online, virtually, whatever. I don't care. Show me what to do. And it inspired me to create Free Game Fridays, which is now Give You the Game Live, but Free Game Fridays, which is where I like tuned in and was able to tap in with people in my community and the folks who've been following me for a long time and go live with them and, talk to the people who have been inspiring me, which is why I say it's Give You the Game Live, because a lot of that content I'll be, repurposing for Give You the Game as well. But I do think that it gave me a new level of trust in God and what He wants me to do, and just to trust it there. Like, all right, Lord, clearly these bookings ain't coming back in the way that I think. So whatever it is, and He opened so many doors. By the end of 2020, I did my first guest appearance on the Today Show. I've been on 5 times since. So I'm just like, got you, Lord, like whatever. And it's not easy. Like, it's much easier said than done. The consistent like practice of it is something that I'm still getting the muscle to do, but it's really such a powerful testimony to like faith in the practice of that. And I started therapy in May of 2020, and I definitely think it's one of the most incredible, not hobbies that I picked up, but life changing tools that I added to my toolbox. I am such a big proponent of mental health and wellness, but I also really realized that like it is a taboo topic in many circles still, even though it's such a major point of conversation for like the internet and especially Black folks and wellness in the internet space. We still, like, when we go home with our families, they like, no, what? Are you crazy? Like, what's going on? You need help? Like, and you're like, no, I think therapy is good for everybody, right? And so, I had to take off my own stigmas and just be so committed to my healing that at the end of the day, I was recklessly focused on just showing up as who I needed to be in that moment so I could be better in the next. And so therapy was one thing that I picked up. And I also went back to online. I did an online business school with Brit and Co. and learned how to develop brands, and it was cool. So I did a few things over the pandemic, but I also gave myself grace in understanding that like this is a crazy time. So if you can't write that book, you'll be all right. If you can't start the show, you did your best to, and that's totally and beautifully okay.
Exactly. And I feel like it was somewhat a blessing in disguise for some people.
Yeah.
I did lose my job and I did not have one for about 3 months, but I picked one up that was 10 times better, So, hey, and it was
Look
more.
at it.
So, exactly.
Congratulations.
It all worked out for, certain people, not everyone, but
Yeah. Right.
that's awesome. And yeah, with mental health, we all have gone through certain trauma, unfortunately, especially in the Black community. And, it's definitely something that we still need to talk a little bit more about.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, so another question for you. I know you're working on a lot of things, but do you have any, I guess, short-term goals that you'd like to achieve maybe sometime next year or anything
Yeah.
working
I
on?
want to get my YouTube subscribers up. I want to get my newsletter subscribers up. But I think the biggest thing that I want to do is just be consistent and disciplined in creating my own content and being just 100% validated by my own content, like not even worried about a like or a view or whatever, just putting it out because I believe it, because I believe that whoever sees it is it's going to be for them, and doing it in a way that I am proud of and living and creating based on the experiences that I've had, what I've learned, what I can share, and just understanding the power in all of our stories is what changes things for the better. And my story is powerful. Like just walking a little stronger and a little more authentically in my own path is what I'm focused on. And I don't think that looks like a measurable goal more than it looks like a consistent pattern, more than it looks like me showing up for myself better than I did the day before, and just showing up and continuously showing up until the point where I'm like, girl, we really did that. Like whatever comes out of it, I know that it's going to be incredible. But yeah, just looking forward to creating more content for Give You the Game. I'm looking forward to pitching more shows. I'm looking forward to, continuing to amplify the wins in our community, especially for Black creatives, because it's just one of my favorite things to see. Creating more spaces for Black creatives to feel seen, especially creatives of faith to feel seen, and heard and feel connected to other people in their space. And more stuff with More Than That. We were working on season 2 and developing that. And we have a special coming up for Pride Year, because Pride is all year, honey. It's not just 1 month. And so, having incredible talks. We've had incredible talks all through the first season, but we did a special for Juneteenth. And as we talk about liberation, the Black community, we can't not talk about liberation in the Black and gay and queer and LGBTQIA community as well. And so, I'll be having conversations with folks that I love and hopefully have been a good ally to, about how to be supportive and be a part of the movements where we need to be a part of it, because some not that we don't need to be a part of every aspect of it, but I do know that some of us do the disservice to the movement by telling the stories without the people who actually experience it. So like, how can I amplify and pitch up what you're doing, because you understand the fight more than I do, right? And so things conversations of that nature, and we'll be developing and putting that out soon. So I'm excited about that, and a lot of things, but that's going to be really great.
I am excited for you. I mean, there's nothing that you can't accomplish, right? I feel like Scott. So keep going.
Thank you. There's nothing you can't accomplish, honey. Like, know that. Like, for you, that's one of the things.
Right.
I think, like, if that would be another piece of advice that I would give to anybody in entertainment, is like, believe in yourself. Like, this little journey that these little things that we do lead to big things, and the ways that we show up in the smaller times and the smaller wins will be how we show up in the big wins. So celebrate the little things, celebrate the small wins, celebrate all of your victories, because they matter, and celebrate yourself because you matter, right? Like, and if you don't believe in what you came here to do and what you're doing, it's going to be hard to convince people to believe in you too. So just, whatever that work looks like, I do that work for myself all the time, because this is a very tough industry as well. And it can get you to a place where you are feeling less self-confident, less like yourself. And so, it is important to always keep people around you who love you and see you despite anything that might be happening in the real world, but also keeping those practices for yourself, which is why therapy matters, and prayer, and all the things that are bigger than like the daily madness of life. Because it gets crazy, child. Trust.
It sure does. It is hard to stay sane.
Yeah. Yes.
We do have less than a minute left, unfortunately. I wish it was a little longer, Gia.
Yeah. I mean, it's up to you. I could stay for about 8 more minutes.
The thing is, I don't know. I think it's going to shut off at a certain time, which sucks. But yes, let me see. Oh, actually, oh no. So sorry, my partner says we can go over 30 minutes. That's good.
Yeah, let's do the 540.
Okay, awesome. I appreciate it. You're the best.
Of course. Of
Um,
course.
First of all, I would love to meet you. Are you in New York or where are you located now?
I'm in New York, but I'm always traveling between here and DC and LA and wherever else I need to be. So as more events start coming up in person, I'll definitely like share those, and so I can start meeting people again, because it's very hard to stay connected with people in person these days, because most events, I mean, they're starting to open up, but it's not really opening up just yet. So, but yeah.
Taking some time, I'm sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Far. I do want to move to Brooklyn. I'm not sure. It is a little pricey. So I got to think about that.
It is pricey and it's
Gentrified.
what is gentrified, honey. But I think I definitely lucked up on my spot, because my mentor just was like, "Hey, you need a spot of your own, right? Here's a lease," and it ended up working out. So hopefully you come across somebody that is like looking to move that on, because it's pricey. It is. You're not wrong.
It is. It's a beautiful place though. So
Yeah.
we'll see. I'll figure it out.
Yes.
But speaking of mentorship, do you ever mentor anyone, or do you have anyone that's
Yeah, I would say I mentor a few girls, especially from the Ween Academy program, that used to be in existence. I think they're really done with it. But yeah, I've mentored a lot of girls. I've definitely done the whole way of, like, if I can't take an opportunity, if I notice the talented girls in my circle who need opportunities, I'm always there to put them in the conversation. Shout out to Crystal Vega and Brittany Nichols and a lot of those girls who are growing and moving forward too. And so yeah, I do mentorships, and with my newsletter community, I'm starting a way to connect with women, because there's so many young women that do want the chance to connect a little bit more with me, but also like-minded women. So I'm definitely going to start planning some meetups for my newsletter community, especially. But yeah, that's probably the way that I would start it, because I also believe mentorship is organic in the form of, in the same way that you can't expect a guy who doesn't really know you to be your boyfriend, you can't really expect a person who doesn't really know who you are to want to mentor you off bat. And that's why I say it's important to develop those relationships, important to develop, maybe people can go for meetups or come to an event and people can get to see them. Or maybe it's even just like, hey, check out my reel. I really would love your advice here, things like that, because it is kind of hard to find a mentor, because you want someone to take it seriously. You don't want just someone to be like, all right, that's cool. And usually that comes with like time and organic meetups and things like that. But yeah, I definitely am starting to do more of that in my newsletter work, in my newsletter community, because there are just so many young women that I think are so talented, like yourself, that I want to be a part of their careers, however I can. But I am also one person, so I have to manage the flow, so I'm not over here overdoing it on my own.
I know, I hear you. It's a lot.
Yeah. It is.
And Raven's amazing. Like, she's responsive and
I hired her, honey. That's not even a mentor. That's not a mentee. That is my whole operations manager. I love her. She's the best.
She is. Yes. But I would definitely love to join that newsletter if possible. I can, of course, speak to her about it too offline.
Yeah. No, it's all available. The signups we're still live, and it's going to be rolling signups. GiaPeppers.com. If you go to the middle part of it, or even if it's your first time visiting, it's usually a pop-up. It's like, hey, join my newsletter. And so it's all on GiaPeppers.com.
Cool. Awesome. And I guess one more question. I almost forgot to ask you this, because I know you've met so many celebrities. I guess, which one has been your favorite thus far?
Oh, that's so hard. But I think the standout celebrity interaction had to be with Kobe Bryant. And even before he passed away, I always walked with that feeling of what a beautiful experience I had with him, because of how aware he was of his greatness and his energy and what he brought to the space. When Nike basketball was still a part of the Mamba League, and hopefully they'll bring it back in some way with Mamba and Mambacita, the organization that they have in memory of Gianna and Kobe. They usually did a Mamba League camp for young folks in LA. And for the first time ever in 2018, I believe they brought it to New York for the first time, and they needed somebody to host it. And one of my friends, one of my homies, Arenze, was like, "Hey, would you like to do this?" I was like, "Is water wet?" Like, for sure. And you know, me coming from my Wizards background and all of the things that I've done with the NBA, like I love Kobe Bryant, and I didn't always love him because he always dropped like 50, 60 on the Wizards, but he just became this incredibly powerful force of good and talent and excellence, you know, especially in the last few years of his career and his unfortunately his life. But when he came into the room that day, he thanked every single person for being there for him, and he came up to me and thanked me for being there. And I was just like, in my mind, I'm like, I literally would have mopped. I would have mopped the floor if they needed me to. I don't care, journalism degree and all. I would have mopped to be in your presence just because you matter that much to me. Your greatness matters that much to me. What you've been able to accomplish matters that much to me. Mm-hmm. And so when we were, usually when you are brought on to host events with celebrity guests, there are two separate dressing rooms because these A-list celebrities don't usually do all the hobnobbing with the randoms, honey. And I mean, you know, what compared to that Kobe level, okay, I'm a random, and I, you know, that it is what it is. And so I wasn't expecting us to share a green room, but we shared a green room. So I'm just sitting there with me and my friend Daniqua, who's the founder of Lit Brooklyn, and we're sitting there and we're just like, with like 10 other people in the room, and Kobe just sitting across, and he's like, "So what you been up to?" And I'm like, not creating like groundbreaking teenage books for fiction and on Jimmy Kimmel and flying back. Like I've been doing my thing, hosting. I don't know, like whatever. And he was just like laughing, and like I was able to tell him that like I saw his last game in DC, and I told him that watching him play is what I imagine it must have been like to watch Michelangelo paint the Sistine Chapel. Like the greatness, the attention to detail, the continuous practice, the confidence, like, you know, you're about to make this shot. Like no one played like Kobe played, and it was just meticulous, and you could tell how much he practiced, how like it really was real, that he wasn't going to the club with his teammates. He was only in the gym and doing his little thing and then going back, right? Like his excellence was proven. And I loved his mindset. And he was just like, thank you, like literally the kindest man ever. And then we talked about his Slam magazine cover that just had come out with him and Gianna, and how he loved coaching, and his face just like lit up. Like you could tell that was his, like, he was so proud to be a coach and a dad, and just being in that chapter in his life where he could actually pour into the next generation. You could tell how much he loved it. And we talked about my name because they call her Gigi, and I was like, yeah, my dad was gonna name me Gianna, but there was some girl in his school that was mean, and so we did Gia only. And he was like, we call her Gia sometimes. And so just the humility to sit and talk to people that can't do anything for you. I can't. Anything Kobe needs, he could get done, right? Like the curiosity for everyone else's journey. He wasn't a journalist. He legit was just curious about every single person that came in his presence. Like, and I thought that was the most beautiful thing ever. And as I watched him throughout the day, there were hundreds of screaming little kids who just wanted to be around him. And every time he gave them attention, like he was like, "What's up? What's up, little man? How you doing? Hey, bro, thank you." Like everybody who came up to him. And so it taught me what greatness really looks like up close. And greatness doesn't look like you think you're greater than everybody else, and you are standoffish, and you are thinking that people are below you. Greatness looks like leveraging the energy of your highest being to allow people to realize that not only are they on your same level, that they have greatness too. And I think that's what my favorite thing about watching Kobe was, like, oh, wow, you just spreading the greatness. Like, you just like, come on, you great, what's up? And just by looking people in their eyes and telling them that they matter, and not verbally speaking that, but with his actions and the way that he did it. Like, you matter to my presence. I'm not dismissing you like some of these little rappers do. I'm not like, you come to talk to me. Like, what's up? Really,
Exactly.
you have, like, you would see the difference in the kids when they walked away. Like, they were like, ah, man, Kobe. And I probably did the same thing when I walked. I did. It's on camera. And I was like, yo, I just talked to Kobe Bryant. Like, and that's the energy. That's what you want to give to people. That's what you want to, those are those unforgettable moments. Like, when people leave your presence, they should feel better. They should feel more inspired. If we're human, but especially when you're in those spaces where you're ready to give, like, your energy really matters to a space. And so I just learned so much about greatness in that moment. And it's probably my favorite encounter, in one of the hardest deaths, other than Nipsey and, Whitney and Michael, but like,
Right.
one of, like, I can't believe he's gone. It feels crazy that he's not here.
Oh, I know. I mean, that was probably one of the definitely one of the biggest deaths ever, especially because his daughter and all those other kids and their families too. It was just so
Painful.
painful.
Yeah.
Horrible. But to
Yeah.
make her able to meet him and feel all that greatness. I mean, he's definitely was my favorite basketball player. I am a fan, but I always liked Kobe.
Yeah, right.
Never get a ring, but we'll see what happens.
Y'all did well this season. Y'all did all right. So
Right. That's true. But that's amazing. I love that. And he just seems a humble guy in general. Like, yeah, I'm sure a lot of people thought he probably was stuck up because he thought he was the best, in which he typically was the best, right? So, I mean, he has the right to feel that way, but at the end of the day, he's human, and it's nice that he was able to really spread that greatness with you all. I love that story. Thank you for
of course.
too.
You know what?
I said, I'm sure my fans will love this story too.
Yes, honey. Yes to your fans.
Thank you so much. We're just going to wrap it up now. But I appreciate you once again. You are just amazing. I've been watching you for a while. And no, I haven't been stalking you, somewhat, but I just think you're amazing.
Thank you. Thank you. I look forward to building the newsletter community. And hopefully I see you when I start those, I mean, I'll give you an exclusive because I haven't even announced it yet, but what it will be is that I'll be having kind of like real chats, like based on people's reels, like REEL, like because it's for the media girls, right? Like, it's for the girls who are about this life that have a reel and they like, look, I need to know if I'm right. I need to know how I'm doing. Like, let me know. And I am not, a professional in the point where I've been doing this for a million years, but what I know is what I know. And if I can share anything, it'll be like, a quarterly or monthly meetups where we just talk about things in media on a Saturday afternoon, and you could come and we could do coffee or whatever. And it'll be based on the signups. It come, first serve. And I'm going to try to keep it to like 20 women. And we just talk about media. And that's that, right? So, I think it's really important to do that because sometimes you just need people to say, you're on the right path, girl. You're doing great. You're doing great. Because I know for me, when I'm there and like what is happening, I just need somebody to be like, girl, you're doing good. And so that's what it is.
That's all you need. You need to keep going. So
yeah. And so while we're here, let me just say, girl, you doing good, honey.
Aw, thank you. So nervous. I was like, oh my God, I hope I don't stutter. Like, but
there was not one stutter. You did great.
I've been practicing. Thank you. So let's wrap this up, Gia. Thank you again for everything. I guess, where can everyone find you? I know where to find you, but can you share your social media handle?
For sure. I think it's right here. I don't know if it's showing up on my y'all's end too, but it's at Gia Peppers on all socials. And please subscribe to my YouTube channel at Gia Brittany. But you can find honestly everything on GiaPeppers.com. I finally updated it after 4 years. Shout out to Raven who helped me finally get it done. And House of Eve Bowman who designed it. But yes, GiaPeppers.com has everything about joining the newsletter community, every new project that I do. And I just debuted my part 2 of my Give You the Game episode with Erica Campbell on my YouTube. So if you want to check that out, we talk cancel culture, the reaction from her Breakfast Club interview and how she handled that, and all of the things that she does as a mom to ensure that her young girls feel not only seen and supported in their bodies as Christian young women, but also that they are gorgeous and, sexy, honey, and they don't have to hide it just because the Lord gave them curves. Amen. So we have a really good talk. So definitely check that out.
Oh, yes. Thank you so much for sharing. And everyone, my name is Christina Freysonet. I am your host. You can follow me on all social media platforms at Tina Blaze. All right. Thanks, Gia.
You're
Talk to
welcome. Bye. Bye,
you.
everybody.
Bye.